Hello and welcome to the Aaron Resource Podcast. Today we're up to episode 7 of the Anxiety Uninstalling program. An amazing program that basically boosts your immune system, cleans out with a little bit of a detox, clears everything, aligns everything mentally, energetically, holistically, mentally. And guess what? After 14 days, incurable disease like anxiety disorders that you've had for years, I had for 10 years or maybe 8 years diagnosed, all gone, just melts away. Your body is actually designed to heal itself given the right mode. Now I've just gone through and looked at everything and I've gone, what's the fastest possible from A to B? B being you've got A being you've got anxiety and B being you're cured. So obviously I was the first one to do the program in the first 2 weeks of August back in 2018. So it's been quite some time developing. At the time it was a bit of a shock. I didn't know what I'd done. And so to go back and and I can report that nearly 7 years later, the program is still intact. To be honest, I don't know 100% why what it does and how it works. I've got the core of it down pat, and I know energy, and I know energy in numbers, so I know that I'm safeguarding you against protection there. But some of the other things are just there, and the program is exactly the same as what I did. You're going to be doing exactly the same as what I did back in 2018, and I can't wait for you to feel what I felt. It's really something really special, and that's all I can say until you actually experience it. It's going to be the most amazing thing that you've ever done in your life. You will be smiling for months. So today I wanted to talk about the Foodicine part of the program, because the Foodicine part, food as medicine that is, it's a big part. And I'm a qualified chef. Well, I'm a very experienced chef. I've done, banquets for the Chinese president or the Prime Ministers of Australia. I've had restaurants in Melbourne, Noosa, Cairns, Port Douglas. I've worked for big companies and also for little cafes and breakfast places and stuff. So I've got a lot of experience. So I could understand how someone like you that is not a commercial cooker coming into this has got to navigate all these recipes. I've tried to make it as easy as possible for you by having all the information there so that there's no guesswork. Okay, so you've got all your recipes. But first, you've got all your shopping list, okay? And I've broken it into days. So obviously it goes for 14 days. So I think I've done 5 days, and 4 days. And I've broken it into 3 sections. And pretty much they're on repeat anyway, with the meals and stuff like that. And so basically, I want to say it's got to be plant-based. It's got to be organic. Right? Because we're trying to naturally align ourselves. We're trying to make ourselves so naturally aligned with the original state of, a human being in homeostasis that your body will start looking around going, hang on a minute, what's going on here? And that's what happens. So it's really important to tick some boxes like, yeah, it's got to be plant-based. Does it have to be cauliflower if you don't like cauliflower? No. Okay? There's certain omega-3s, fatty acids, fibre put here, that put there, but there is no problem with swapping out things that you don't like as long as they're swapped out for other plant-based foods. Alternatively also, if you want to add, like you want to eat more, because it is going to speed up your metabolism and you're going to get hungry because the CBD oil does that as well, go for it. Eat as much vegan, raw, unprocessed stuff as you want. If you want to eat freaking 50 apples a day, go and do it. That's the beauty. So it's sort of like, you've got your groundwork saying, all right, these are the rules, these are the boundaries we've got to stay within. We've got to be plant-based and we've got to be eating in that fashion, like it's an actual program where everything is well thought out to get a certain result. And some things rely on other things, and sometimes they're in unison with other things, and some things are just by themselves. So it's really about, like, let's stick to the structure, but if you don't like cauliflower, swap it out. If you want to add as much as you want. Okay, I put a couple of snacky ideas in there, like I think for hot chips with a soyonnaise. Everyone loves a little treat, and I was, I'll be honest with you, the first time I did this, I had all the food at home and, my little kitchen and stuff, and it was a mess. Even for me, an organised chef, it was a mess. I didn't have all the recipes and all the stuff to go on. I just had the dishes and what I had to create, and obviously when I then healed myself, I had to go back and then document the food. I actually didn't record all the videos that you see, the food pictures that you see, and that picture of me cooking in my kitchen. That was actually 1 year later. So on the anniversary, I thought I would honour the most amazing 14 days of my life with another 14 days of my life. Nothing had come back, nothing had relapsed at that stage. I just thought it was really honouring, and I thought it was such a profound thing, like to freaking heal yourself of incurable disease. I was like really empowered, but I really also didn't want to not be grateful. And I had this new opportunity, and through the personal development of the program, I learnt about yin and yang, about, energies, about balance, about how gratefulness brings more to you. And, just simple little things of reflecting and making sure that you appreciate what we've got. And I really wanted to make sure that I did that. So I asked my son if he could take a couple of weeks off school and do the program with me. And so he's the cameraman behind there. I think he was in year 11, or was it year 12? Well, no, year 12 was a COVID year, so it must have been year 11 or 10 he was in that time. Had a couple of weeks off school, which he didn't mind, and he did all my videos and photographs and food photography and stuff. Obviously, I'm not great at photography and stuff. So all of that's from the first year anniversary. And did it again. Exactly the same. And obviously, after that point, then I was able to document everything, the recipes, work on shopping lists, all that sort of stuff. The shopping list, look, it's plant-based. There's no meat, there's no processed, there's no takeaway, there's no heavy foods. Most people, depending on where you live, I mean, the cost of living is pretty high at the moment anyway, but most people, wherever you live, they get the program, they buy the stuff for the first 4 days, and that big shopping list, it approximately costs between $300 and $438. I've had the fluctuations from all the people doing it independently, sending them to me, the information, just for the FYI. And but a lot of that food, at least, I'd say just under half gets used for the next round, you know what I mean? Because you're doing recipes with chia pudding and chia seeds and all these dried nuts and fruits and things that you can actually have got a good shelf life on them. You can use for the second round and even the third if you need to. So, like food-wise, it might cost you a little bit just to invest to get the base stock there. But in general, as you're going along, you're probably not eating anywhere near what you would spend on eating your normal diet that you eat now. The CBD, I'll talk about in the next episode, and I'll go through everything from sourcing to that's also really reasonably priced. So there's, we're not asking you to, go and spend all this money on things that aren't fresh food, basically, or an organic compound that we already have a receptor for, because we make 2 types of CBD in our bone marrow right now. That's right, right now in your bone marrow, you're making 2 types of CBD. GA2, which is 2AG, scientists call it. I've been calling it the wrong. Andamide, the other one, the bliss molecule when you breastfeed. So we've got a system for it, and obviously different things can be used in our path. This one I used a very low dose, but so we got the Foodicine, we got the program, the shopping. The first shopping is going to be a bit of a mission. There's going to be shit everywhere. You're going to have bits and pieces left over, and hopefully you've got a family and some kids and they're still eating meat, and you can put some veggies to their stuff as well. So look, if you can get someone to help you, it would be better. I'm a commercial, as I said, I'm a chef. I still, even though I was just cooking for one, I still had shit everywhere. So, and the second time round, it was a little bit better. And it's very hard to cook for one as well. You know what I mean? So I was cooking, I was doing the program for 2 or 3, and then I was running all the food to my neighbours as I was consuming it and giving it to my kids as well. I have another son who's autistic, and so he doesn't eat a lot of that stuff either. So I had to get it out to the neighbours and bits and pieces. So the food part of it, the thing that I really enjoyed it, because, you know, when I'm at work, I've got to cook. It's a job. You do anything too much, it's not enjoyable, even if you loved it at one stage. So this, I just really embraced the experience. You know, 2 weeks of changing the chemical composition into a lighter, lovey, beautiful, healing space, energy. So I would get in the kitchen, you know, I started a couple of days before. I remember this day so vividly. I was living on the first, I lived upstairs, and I had to pull all the groceries upstairs and go shopping all around town, and I got it all upstairs, and it covered all the benches, the sinks, the fridge. It was everywhere. I only had a little kitchen, and then I thought, all right, how are we going to do this? Like, this is the big part of it. How can I enjoy this? And I thought, well, you know, at work, when I'm working, I don't get to listen to music because we need to be listening for calls and, you know, the operation of the business. So I really just vibed it. I just I made a new playlist, my favourite songs, got in the kitchen and just started. I basically just got the recipe sheets offline, which is what you can see, and just printed them off, and then I would just tick them off with a pen when I'd prepped it. And then obviously when I'm putting the dish together, I've got all the elements because I know they're all ticked. So I just had a little system inside my head, and I just sort of tried to work a day ahead of myself, if that makes sense. So for tomorrow's recipes, I was doing all the prep today, and then I just put them together tomorrow. And then obviously tomorrow you're doing the next days. And so I found by keeping myself sort of a day ahead with the prep, and then on the day you've just got to put them together. And then in between you putting your meals together on the day, you're preparing the food for the next day, if that makes sense. That for me was a game changer. That, I didn't do the first time round, but the second time around I had so much more time up my sleeve. So I was preparing for the next day, and so everything that I would eat tomorrow was prepared, prepped. Not so much cooked, but prepared the day before. And then on the day, it was just a matter of heating, cooking, putting together, and serving. And then in between, just working on the next day's thing. So that's a good organised way to look at it. And, you know, there's nothing wrong with picking as you're going, and you know what I mean? Look, if you look at the thing, it's almost like you're giving yourself something every hour on the hour, and sometimes in between, all the way through till the end of the day. And that's the boosting immune part of it. Okay, it's almost like force feeding a chicken. You're going, all right, nutrient. We're not giving you dense, big, processed pieces of nutrient lacking foods. We're giving you smaller, doses of naturally organic produce that will, by the end of it, it will actually make you about 8 times what your normal average sort of intake of nutrients is. So it's going to elevate you to another state. Not only does your body heal in this state, other things happen as well. And I need to warn you about this with Foodicine. I've been experimenting with Foodicine for many, many years. Even before this, when I was sick, I was working in a bulk food store, and they wanted to open a vegetarian-style cafe. And I started putting blasts, which is just NutriBullet smoothies, and I tried to work out how I could microdose and get the most impactful blasts, And one day I was experimenting with this girl that worked in the shop, and we were trying all these ones out, and as we left, about 10 minutes later, she rang me and she goes, "I'm off my head." And I said, "What do you mean?" She goes, "I am buzzing. I've got so much energy. I don't want to sit around. I don't want to, I just want to do stuff. I'm not procrastinating. I just want to get into stuff." She goes, "But I'm calm. I'm still just sitting there. It's like a reserved energy. If it's there, just if you wanted to, bang." And I was like, "Oh my God, this is just fresh, natural spinach, cucumber, raw beetroot, a lot of raw stuff, herbs, mints, chlorophyll, spirulina." And I'm like, what is going on here? And so we started making protein balls. Because, you go to a shop and you get a protein ball, you put in. We made protein balls that when you put them in your stomach, if you didn't have some water with it or some fluid, it would give you a stomach cramp. It was that full on with rich nutrients that your body is just not used to. We are used to eating shit. We are used to eating barren nutrient foods, processed shit, and not everyone, but I'm just saying on general, cheaper, processed. And so what happened was we had to then go, oh, is this too much? Is natural food too much? And it was just crazy. So the other thing that you're really going to experience with this Foodicine, which I need to warn you about, your cognitive function is going to be elevated. You're going to be allowed 30% more cognitive. You're going to see things out the corner of your eye. The reaction to things is just going to be more free, automatic, without any effort. You're going to have energy levels which you've never had before. No one's ever done this on earth before. No one's ever done this with food, right? No one's ever got their body to a level of state like this before. I tell people, because people do ask me a bit about this part of it, and I tell people it's the closest thing is it's like Bradley Cooper in the movie Limitless. He has this pill which is makes everything out of control. His cognitive function, his wit, his strength, everything. And that's what it's like. You will actually go out into the world in this state, and the world, you'll be tapping your foot. The world will be going too slow for you. The people at the shop won't answer you fast enough. You're actually in a very elevated state. You've never been in that state. No one on earth has ever been in that state. That's the healing state. That's when the magic happens. Your body is designed, are you ready for this? Your body is designed to heal itself. Your body that you're in right now as a human being, Aaron, who's done this before in 2008, right? This part of it, you've never seen your body get to this stage, but you will realize that your body is completely designed to heal itself. And that's why if it's taken 20 years for these problems to build up, they can be restored in 14 because your body knows the way home. This is really, really powerful. And, you probably don't know it now, but just by you healing yourself, you're going to change the world for the better. This is going to send a trajectory, a ripple throughout the whole of the world, and that makes all of us want to be better for each other, stand up for each other, be better, make better choices, have better programs, do better for our kids. This is what it does, because at the moment, mentally, we don't think any of these things are capable. So once you heal yourself, it becomes an availability out there, and everyone's mind is open, and everyone then has access to this healing energy. So the Foodicine part, you're going to get some things happen that you haven't felt before, because no one has. No one's ever got their body to these states before, which is crazy when you think about human performance and people biohacking and, like elite sports people, even they're high-performance sports people. They really do look for, 1 or 2 seconds, points of a second in running and things like that. They're looking for every possible edge, and this is like one of them. I tried, on a bit of a side note, many years ago, my football team was doing really bad, and I put a little package together, and they didn't even get back to me. They thought it was a joke. So I didn't give up on that football team. I'm still with them, and they're still shit. But the fact is that I've found a way to get an elite sports team to higher states of personal performance, which would make them far more elite sports people as a team, as a whole, than anyone else in the league, by changing their diet, which would then changes their energy levels, which then changes the reserves, which then changes everything. And they thought it was a joke. They absolutely thought it was a joke. So imagine when all this comes out and they're all going to be fucking kicking themselves. Everyone's going to be kicking themselves. All the 700 cancer organisations all around the world, and all the people that have sort of said, hey, you want to be part of this. When Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson and other pharmaceutical companies start losing billions and billions of dollars because the medication's not needed anymore, and all the center, everything that they've ever built their whole business model on is not there anymore. Their whole ass is falling out of it. They're going to be kicking themselves, but I think it's just a natural progression. They were always going to be temporary. You know what I mean? They were created out of greed and really, really negative energies to get it. Look, and I'll be honest with you, I did give them all the opportunity in the beginning. So I, sent letters to Pfizer, who does Zoloft and the medication that I was on for 8 years. And I said, look, guys, I'm, at board level, I'd like you to maybe table this in your minutes. I've worked for big corporate companies, some of the biggest companies, 3 of the biggest companies in the world. So I know how corporate governance works, right? So I go to them and I go, look, maybe if you could just table it and say, look, maybe this guy might have something that's going to change the outcome of your future. It's going to make you guys look like the baddies. But if you become part of it now and develop the thing, you might be able to actually make some money out of it. And, moving forward. No response. Oh, I'll send another one. Hey, guys, I'm not sure you got my last email. No, nothing. Oh, ring them up. No, there seems to be all our mail's registered and yours isn't registered here. Oh, okay. You think it's a joke. Well, guess what? The joke's over. You have no idea how happy I am getting to this point, 7 years at the end, knowing that it works every time. Yeah, you don't, and that's fair enough. You can't be laughing yet, but you will be. But yeah, I just wanted to go through that. Just remember with the Foodicine, as long as it's organic, think, least amount to it as possible, and you'll be right. But that is part of it. You're going to have to embrace that part of it, because that is the main thing. While you're doing that, in between that, you're trying to fit 2 bloody frequency sessions in and earthing. walking on the thing, and you're continually getting glass water bottles and filling them with water, putting them with next to 528 hertz on YouTube, or writing messages, I am healed, I am loved, I am protected, I am guided, and things like that on your water. So you're doing that, and then you are creating some change. That's what it's all about. 14 days. Put in the 14 days. Some of you have had the condition. I had the condition for 10 years. I put in my 14 days and I never had to worry about it again. So that was my little take on Foodicine. But just remember principles, and don't beat yourself up or anything. Don't get too hung up on anything. Okay? It's not a plan to be hung up on. The whole thing is designed for you in this world today. Yeah? That's why there's no interactions. It's natural. It's risk-free. It's everything, so that you can't make one excuse not to do it. The only excuse that anyone, the reason why they don't do it or haven't done it, the people that have expressed interest up to now, is fear. Okay, some of them have been sick for a long time, and actually if they healed themselves, they wouldn't know who they were. There's a lot of that. Yeah, there's a lot of fear. And even for me, you're like, oh, what happens if this works? What then? That's where we're going. So I can't wait for you all to experience this. So Foodicine, episode 7, done, tick.